Hi all, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Cher RZ, and that's the name of the channel. SHAR space capital R capital Z. You could find it if you just put that in on the search bar. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy lasagna. Now, because the sauce takes a while to make, I did the sauce yesterday, and let me just show you how it came out. It actually looks awesome. Can you see that? There you go. And what I did when I made the sauce, just run it down really quick. I put some olive oil in a pan. I browned up some hamburger and some sausage. Actually, first I did the sausage because that takes a little bit while longer. And then I added the crumpled up hamburger and I just browned it all. After that was browned well, I drained some excess oil off. I added 2 large cans of crushed tomatoes, the 28-ounce ones. And I put the whole thing in a crock pot on low for about 6 hours. That's nice, all the flavors cook in. You know, I added my Italian seasoning, a couple bay leaves. However you make your sauce is how you make your sauce. And it doesn't have to be a meat sauce. If you're vegetarian, you could skip the meat altogether. Whatever you prefer. But now we have our sauce made, and what I did was, because it was in the fridge, I just heated it up on low, so it kind of thinned it out a little, so it's going to be easier to put it in the pan. All you have to do is have one pan, casserole pan, shredded mozzarella. I bought a 16-ounce block of mozzarella because it's actually cheaper, and I shredded it myself with this regular handheld shredder. Now you can buy the shredded mozzarella too, but it's to be frugal, is more cost effective to go for the big chunk. So I used half of the 16-ounce mozzarella and shredded it up. If we need more, I'll shred some more, but that might be enough. I have oven-ready lasagna. Now, lasagna typically, you used to have to boil it and rinse it and then carefully put it in the pan. Well, now they have, if you don't know, they have oven-ready lasagna. They used to have only 1 or 2 of the higher pasta brands for oven-ready, but now I noticed in the store when I went today that they have the typical store, like this is Big Y Food Club brand, and they've even come out with oven-ready lasagna. It's only $1.99. Can't really beat that. I don't use ricotta cheese. I use cottage cheese. I know some recipes get involved, mix the ricotta with this and that, and put the eggs in and all that. This is, actually, it's a little less fattening, but to me, I like it. It's got a lighter taste, and I think it's great. So, okay, let's get started. Let me grab the sauce. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I have the sauce in a pan, and we're going to put just a thin layer on the bottom of the casserole dish so that when it starts cooking, it doesn't, the pasta doesn't stick to the casserole dish. So we're just going to do that. And we're going to put our pasta lengthwise. And it fits. This is the right size dish for the pan. And it does fit. If you don't have the right size dish, you could just break off a piece of the lasagna or something just to make it fit. So basically, you're going to put your lasagna down in the pan, like so. Then you're going to add another layer of sauce on top of the lasagna. You don't have to be too crazy about it. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's all going to cook together and melt into each other. Then I'm going to take a little bit of mozzarella, sprinkle that on top of that layer of sauce. And I'm going to take my cottage cheese, and I'm just going to do I got a teaspoon here. We're just going to go flop, 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 flop. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. So, you know, I did like half to 3/4 teaspoons on top of the, so you got your lasagna in the bottom, then you have your sauce, and then you have the cottage cheese. Okay, now I'm going to go continue doing the other 3 layers. Okay, well, we actually ended up with 4 layers, which is really good. I mean, look at this. It's beautiful. The last layer, oh, I forgot to put the cottage cheese on the last layer. Hang on. Okay, we got the cottage cheese on the top layer. So your top layer is going to look like that, with the sauce and the mozzarella and the cottage cheese on top. I'm going to cover it with foil. I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator because I love to prep everything first. When it comes time to eat later, all you got to do is pop it in the oven. So this is all set. Let me clean up this mess. And I think I'm going to show you how to make some really nice, easy, quick homemade bread. Okay, be back in a minute. Oh, before I forget, how you're going to cook this in the oven is you're going to preheat your oven to about 350 and put it in the oven for around 45 minutes. And then take the foil off, take the foil off the top, and for 10 minutes, leave it in there. Let it rest, you know, on the counter or on top of the stove or, you know, on a cutting board for about 10 minutes so it rests. It'll still continue cooking a little bit at that point, but that's all you got to do for the lasagna. And this will serve, a good 4 people. You know, with the bread, could be 4 to 6, depending on, you know, how large the people are. But with the bread, and I'm going to make a little salad, so I'll be right back to show you how to do the bread. Easy peasy, quick and easy, in the oven to smell up the house with the beautiful aroma as well. Hang on. Hi all. So now we're on to the bread. Now this bread, I'm going to try to get it up close to the camera. It's already risen once. I bought it in the grocery store. And we're going to keep it simple. We're not starting our own bread with flour and yeast and all that. That's for another video. This you can pick up at the grocery store. I advise you could just buy it not frozen if you're going to use it that day or within 3 days, and just store it in the fridge. But it comes in different kinds now too. This particular one is basil. They have garlic, they have regular pizza dough, but I wouldn't use the regular pizza dough for bread. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it out of the package, and I just cut the top off, scissors, just, you know, get the scissors in there, and then work away the bread. I don't want to take a lot of time doing this. But it's a little sticky, but it's not sticking to the plastic, and it shouldn't. Did I say you should get it to room temperature before you do this? Well, you should, if I didn't say it. You know, it's probably cold because it came from the grocery store in the refrigerated section. But get it to room temperature. It's easier to work with. I'm going to take a little bit of flour and put it on my cutting board, just so it doesn't stick. Just spread some around, not a big deal. It's okay to get flour on the bread. But the second time, before we start to roll it out, we want to get the air bubbles out of it. So I'm going to flour the sides of it. And then what you want to do is you want to knead it like this. And basically, you can almost hear the air bubbles popping out of it. Fold in one side, fold in the other, fold in the top, fold in the bottom. Well, I can feel the air bubbles popping. You want to get the air out of that so it's easier to roll out. Okay, so we're going to knead it some more. Now, I'm going to knead it for probably another, maybe a minute and a half. So I'm going to put you on pause just for a couple seconds, and we'll be back to roll it out. Okay, so we're going to get ready to roll it out. Now, what I do is I try to give it a head start by kind of pulling at the ends a little. And almost like you see the guys making pizzas at the pizza place. It's just a little easier. Put it on the cutting board. Slap it down. And by doing this too, you're still getting some more air out if there's any air left. Then you're going to take rolling pin and you're just going to start rolling away. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put this right on the counter because this cutting board is sliding. So I'm just going to flour on the counter. I think they actually have something to hold cutting boards in place, but I don't have one right here now. So we're just going to start rolling this out. Okay, it's all rolled out. Now what I'm going to do is, I think what I'm going to do is, we like garlic. So I'm just going to add, this is just a little chopped up garlic. I'm just going to add some garlic and spread it around on the bread. You know, it's going to bake in the oven, so the garlic's going to give it a nice, garlicky taste, and it'll give a nice, excuse me, garlic smell when you walk in the house. So we're going to put the garlic on there. Now we're just going to fold it. Like, we're going to take the upper half and fold it to the middle. I don't know if you can see that good. Take the lower half and fold it again. We're just going to pat down the seams, the little side seams. You just kind of want to make a little triangle, fold them over so that nothing, leaks out, I guess, right? And if you want to secure it a little bit better, you can just take a little water on your fingers and go on the seams, and that will kind of seal it in. Then you can pull it out if it's not exactly even. You really can't mess this up. It's pretty easy, and it's awesome. Now, what I'm going to do here is I have get some things out of the way. I have one counter to cook on. I have a cookie sheet, and I put a piece of parchment paper on top of the cookie sheet. You don't have to, but this way it won't stick. If you don't have parchment paper, don't worry about it. Just put it right on the cookie sheet. It'll be fine. But I'm going to lift the bread up, and I'm going to flip it over so the seam side is down. So straighten it out a little and make it a little more uniform. We're at this point now. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, I have a little bit of olive oil in a cup. I'm going to take my nice silicone brush. I'm going to brush the bread with the olive oil. Really quick. Oh, one thing we forgot. What you want to do is make a couple of slices in the top of the bread, just a little bit, so maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, so that when the bread cooks, the air is released a little bit through the bread. I failed to do that before and it came out fine, so don't get, too crazy about trying to remember it. All right, on the top, we're going to add a little more flavor. Italian seasoning. Just going to sprinkle it on top of the bread. I also have some caraway seed. you know, I just happen to have some. I'm going to sprinkle some of those on top. Just gives it a little color. And I also have poppy seed. I'm going to sprinkle that on the top. I can open up the container. Gotta be careful with that. You don't want to sprinkle too many poppies. I'm going to put it in my hand. I'm just going to make sure not too many come out. Perfect. All right. So the bread is going to bake at 350 for half an hour. Just how it is, not covered, anything like that. Preheated 350 for half an hour. Now, you can do the bread before the lasagna or after the lasagna. I mean, if you do it after the lasagna, while the lasagna is resting, you can, you know, cover the lasagna with a little bit of foil to keep it warm on the stove. Or you could do the bread first, and the same thing. When that comes out of the oven, you could cover it. Or you could even do it simultaneously. Yeah, right? Why not? Put the lasagna on one rack and put the bread on another rack. I'd probably put the bread on a higher rack. But don't forget, you got to take it out after 30 minutes because when you take bread out, I went a little longer once because I looked at it and I said, you know, it doesn't look like it's all nice and brown. Well, when you take that bread out, it's still browning when you take it out of the oven. So once I made the mistake and I left it in, you know, 5 or 10 minutes later till it was brown in the oven, and I took it out and it was too brown. I mean, we still ate it, but so you just want to be sure you do that. And I think all I'm going to do is have the lasagna, the bread, and maybe a little side salad. I picked up cucumber, some lettuce, onion today, a little shredded carrots on the salad to make it look pretty. And easy peasy lasagna from Share RZ. If you like my channel, give me a thumbs up. If you like the video, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. Okay, that's Share RZ, SHARRZ. Thanks all. Have a good one. Enjoy.